Hello, welcome to Indie Tutorials. My name is Guillermo and I would like to thank the patrons supporting this channel.
Okay, so let's continue by adding some sort of LookAt Target functionality to the player when in battle. So if we recap, if I click Ctrl P to go to play mode and we start the battle, anytime soon, we can see that we still be able to rotate and go whenever we wanted, and that's not what we want during battles. We want lining always facing towards the enemies, and also the strafing movement, we don't want to run, walk faster, so we need to also to fix that in Invector's the Animator controller. So let's start working on that. Click on Ctrl P again to stop playing. And first of all, let's go to the Animator of lining. And if we open up, if we go to the base layer, we will have the locomotion state. Then inside the locomotion, we have the strafe locomotion, the strafe movement. And here, what I did is to replace the Invector's idle animation and the walk animation by using the protector anim set from the asset store. But also what we want is here in the on-arm state to remove the run and the sprint, because we don't want to run or sprint during the strafe movement. So just click here, delete, and delete the sprint. Okay, so we are only left with the idle and the walk states. Alright, so the next step is to go into our battle prefab, the combatants prefab. So let's go to Game, Resources, Prefabs, then we have Schematas, and select our Red Schemata battle. And here we already said that we want the locomotion type to be only strafe, but we also need to check walk by default. Okay, and it should be saved automatically. The next step is to go to the battle arena, and what we want to do here, we already set up in the past this camera start position. So let's take this transform information, copy those, and click on the third person camera and paste the transform values, paste component values. Okay. So we are starting the camera looking at some sort of panoramic view. Right. Now let's go back to the staging scene, click play again, and let's go to the battle. The movement now is better, so we have a walk and strafe, but again we still can rotate the player towards the direction of the camera, and that's the reason we wanted to put the camera static. So let's make these changes in the Invector scripts. Okay. Stop the play mode, and what we want now is to select from the Invector folder, scripts. Let's get the camera folder, and then we have the third-person camera. And what we want to do here is check whether if we are in battle. So here in the camera movement, this is the one dealing the camera movement and rotation. So what we are going to do here is add another column. So it will say that if target is null or target LookAt is null or we are in battle. So we type ORK dot battle is battle running. And we need to add the ORK Framework namespace, which we can just type ORK Framework. So now, if we are running the battle, the camera movement will be called, and that will fix at least or get the camera static. So if we go back to the scene after letting Unity compile the scripts, and click play. Let's trigger the battle. Now the camera is in place. This is what we wanted for the camera for now. But as you can see, the player still rotates towards the direction of the camera. So let's fix that. Stop the battle and let's move on. So to interfere with the rotation of the player, we need to go into the Invector scripts again, but in this case let's select character controller, and then we need to add our own code in the third-person controller. Let's click on that, and here we have the control locomotion type, and then we have the control rotation type. And as you can see here, if we have a valid input, and depending on whether we are using the strafing or not, we are going to rotate to a certain direction. So this is the method that we need to influence whether we are in the battle mode or not. So the first thing we want to do is, let's just comment it out. And from here, let's add a comment, so face towards the target in battle mode. And we want to add an if statement again, so whether we are on battle. Let me check if we have the ORK Framework using statement already there. Yes, it is. So let's type if ORK battle is battle running. And also I want to check if the player is not null. We have a current player, so and also if ORK game active group leader is not null. Then we're going to do our stuff. Otherwise, we call the standard rotate direction method. And what we want to check here is, in the first place, if the leader, which is in this case lining, has targets already selected. You remember that the combo and the control map, and the abilities are set to auto target, and as soon as the ability is activated, it will get a target. So what we want to check here is, again, our leader Let me just copy this statement here. Then we retrieve the battle component of the leader and query if the last target count is greater than 0. That means the list of targets has something there. Then we want to retrieve that the first, because this is a list of targets, but remember that we are using single auto target, so we can retrieve the first one. So it's called combatant enemy. It's going to be equals to, we will query again all the things here and retrieve the first one in the list. Afterwards, we can check whether we return something or not, just to be sure, or to be safe. So let's say that if enemy is not null, or let's say is null in this case, or the enemy game object we want to retrieve is null, then we just go outside the method. Otherwise, we can put some debug here for the time being. So let's say look. Let's put log warning to be yellow and it can be visible easily in the console. So let's say lightning is targeting plus enemy get name. So after retrieving then the combatant component, we need to get the transform position of the enemy to convert it into a direction vector, subtracting the lightning position. And that's something that is Invector is doing over here. So we can just take this variable. So direction is going to be to the enemy game object position, transport position, minus the position of the leader, which is lighting in this case. So let's again query on this activate leader. Game object transport position. This will return a direction vector. And then we can just pass this direction into the existing rotate to direction method from Invector. Okay. So what happens when we start the battle is that we don't have any target yet. So this is going to be equal to 0. The targets are assigned as soon as we click the first ability. So what we could do here, and also, another check. So instead of doing nothing, we can do something like else, and then get the combatant enemy by checking the nearest combatant to the player. And for that, ORK has a method that is called ORK game combatants get nearest. And here we need to pass the leader. So again, active group leader. As you can see, it's asking me if we want to add the player group. In this case, no, we don't want to add the player group. The next statement is to pass the the range. In this case, it will be the battle range. We want to consider the enemies only, so consider yes. We want to only consider the ones that are alive, so consider dead is dead, no. We want to consider again only the combatants in battle, and for the last statement we can pass no. So this will give us the nearest combatant to the player. As a security game, we check whether it is null or not. And if not null, it is not null, then we do the same here. So let's copy paste this statement and paste it here. Now let's go back to Unity. We compile and give it a try. Okay, so let's click Ctrl P to test. Okay, so you can see on the screen that we have two enemies, although in the camera we only see one, so let's just move a little bit the camera to the set position a little bit, like I set it to X in this case, so we have a better view of both. And as I mentioned, the target will be auto-selected as soon as we start clicking the ability, but you can see that now is the second option that is running, so she's taking the nearest, the closer enemy. So if I move to the last one, then we start looking at her. If I move away, I have no target, but if I click on the thunder ability, it will select the nearest, and you can see there in the console we have the message, my name is targeting jumper. And it will keep targeting until it's dead. Now we switch to the next alive enemy. Okay. In preparation for the next video, we are going to implement the multi-target camera. We are going to get rid in the battle scene of the Invector third-person camera, but we are going to use Cinemachine for that. So let's go to the package manager and click on Unity registry and find Cinemachine. Depending on your Unity version, you will be suggested for a specific version, but click on see other versions. And I will choose the latest one, which is 2.8.4 at the time of the video, and click install. After installing, we are going to continue on the next video, so thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Bye-bye.